Hi everyone, joining us in the Toyota Solutions studio now is a mother of invention from 2017, Hahna Alexander, who is the CEO and founder of a company called Soul Power. And I'm going to let you explain this, but you know, your resume is so impressive. You wanted to be an astronaut as a kid, but
still do.
You still do. That's going to happen. You were a mechanical engineer at Carnegie Mellon. Got a background in the space industry at NASA and planetary robotics as well at Carnegie Mellon. So you came from a technical background, and you came up with a technical solution for what?
Yeah, so we make wearable devices that charge themselves, and we came up with this idea out of Carnegie Mellon, coming from very different industries. I was in the space industry, obviously, and some of my founding group members at Carnegie Mellon were working on much larger devices and systems, and we saw a need for mobile power for portable devices. So we spun off a company, and it's been a long and windy road with different applications for the technology along the way. But we found a really big opportunity in charging wearable systems for industrial applications where people are in really dangerous and dynamic environments. So we make a smart, self-powered work boot.
Okay, so basically you put a device in a work boot, the person walks around, and as they're walking around, their mobility creates and generates power.
Yeah, so we use a concept called energy harvesting, which is the idea that there's a lot of energy in your motion and around you that's just sort of wasted to the surrounding environment in terms of vibrations or heat. So we capture some of that energy and we convert it to useful electricity for charging things that we need to operate our businesses and small devices.
How long would I have to walk around in your boot to be able to charge my cell phone?
To charge your cell phone, a decent amount of time. Cell phones are actually really power intensive because they have a lot of technologies on, a lot of apps running. Screens are really bad for power efficiency, which is why your phones have power saving modes in them. So yeah, it would take you a couple miles, a little more than a couple miles. But uniquely what we do right now is we charge a platform of sensors. So there's kind of three different parts to our boot. There's the charger, which is this really cool mechanical system that captures the motion from walking and converts it to energy, to useful power, and then that charges a whole suite of sensors sustainably. So we can charge GPS devices, RF devices, Wi-Fi, motion sensors, things that can give really good information about location and motion in the environment. And uniquely, it works solely off of the charger. So we've created a version of a wearable that you never have to plug into an outlet, which is definitely a different way of looking at wearables and wearables design.
And sort of sustainable as well as limitless energy. You got the Toyota Mother of Invention recognition last year. At what point were you in your company and in your mindset in being able to develop your idea when you were awarded the recognition?
Yeah, so we were pretty early in the grand scheme of developing a disruptive company, but we had a really good idea and a demo we delivered to the Army. We'd started to hear all these different applications for the work boot, and over the last year we've continued to do that. We've talked with different workers in industrial sectors like production, construction, manufacturing, really trying to focus on what safety issues they have that our work boot can solve. And we've also kind of expanded into looking at what other safety applications we can solve, what other problems we can solve, focusing on workers that are, again, in really dynamic, dangerous environments. And first responders have come up pretty consistently. So we're really excited to start working with different firefighting equipment companies.
So it's much more at this point than just a boot that charges things.
Yeah,
how does
the platform?
So how does the safety component work?
Yeah, so essentially you can't improve what you don't measure broadly. That's kind of one of our mottos internally. So we know that there are a lot of safety issues that are ignored, inefficiencies, corners cut, and all these things are missed because workers don't always have access to data and information that could make them safer. One example is just simple visibility and situational awareness for a firefighter in the flames. Right now, they have no idea when they walk into a building where somebody is if they become separated from a group. So all those apps that we see in TV shows about SWAT teams walking around in buildings or firefighters kind of looking down at a smartwatch type of equipment, those don't actually exist yet because the technical challenges behind them are really complicated. And putting some of that technology into existing equipment, removing some of the complex charging components that are involved in that solution really makes sense for those industries.
So you have spent a lot of the last year just working on the technical side of things and perfecting the technology. Yeah. You personally are involved in the technical spec and design of the product?
Yeah, so I'm an engineer by training, and I try very much to focus on potential customers and investor relations, and I'm always just naturally pulled back to the technology a little bit too. So yeah, absolutely, I'm still working with CAD modeling and structural analysis and test plan writing, but we also have some really brilliant people who are working on algorithms development, the embedded system, getting all the different modules and sensors up and running.
A lot of technical pieces that you're not involved in as well. When it comes to the recognition that you received from Toyota last year, how much of a difference did that make for your confidence as somebody starting out?
Yeah, so it meant the world. I think so often we're sitting in a cubicle or at a desk focusing on one thing, and it's our passion and our dream, and we are talking to all these people and working really hard on something we care about, and it's just so nice to know that all that hard work is recognized by companies that care about the similar things. Toyota is the pioneer of the Toyota production system, so they kind of wrote the book on a lot of the different industries that we're working with, so it was really exciting for them to see the technology and be excited about it as well.
Well, engineering and innovation is so central to that brand, and clearly to the women that they award with Mother of Invention. Talk a little bit more about where you would like Soul Power to go from here.
Yeah, so I really think we're developing a platform technology. We believe that shoes of the future are not just going to protect people's feet in some of these environments, but also connect them to the internet, really change the way that people are interacting with machines and things around them, and we're really excited to be building it.
So I know as an engineer and as the type of thinker that you must be, you have to think of every eventuality. And one of the big sort of concerns has come up about data and the collection of data. How have you, thought about things like security and privacy when it comes to these wearables?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's a conversation that we have on a daily basis because we have the ability to track where people are. And the question is, how much information do we give to an employer? How much information is important to be transparent for the person actually wearing the device? And in what scenarios do we feel that some sacrifice in privacy could save a life, for example? In what emergency situations is that appropriate? And I think the testimony was what, 8 hours long, but was really interesting for us to listen to. And I think one of the really
You're
important—
talking about the Facebook
testimony? Yes, the Facebook testimony,
right.
And the CEO of Uber was also asked that question on stage at Women of the World. So I think the big takeaway there is companies, engineers that are building really cool technology, really great platforms and tools, also have a responsibility to think how they're going to be used. And that's a conversation that we'll continue to have with our customers and the end user as well.
That's great. It's good that you're thinking about that all the time. Why is it so important to have more women engineering things? I think a lot of the engineers behind AI and the manipulation of big data tend to be men. Why is it important to have more women doing the programming and the coding and the design?
Yeah. So the way things are designed matters a lot, and the more diverse your engineering team, not just gender, but also race, socioeconomic background, the more solutions are going to be addressed with whatever technology you're building, and the more innovative that design process is going to be. If you want really creative solutions, you have to come at it from multiple angles. And I think it's so important to have people from all walks of life contributing to that process. And right now there aren't enough women in tech, and I think as a result, there are a lot of applications that go unsolved, and yeah, we need more women to address those and bring those up when things are being designed.
Absolutely. Hahna Alexander, congratulations on all the success of Soul Power. We wish you the best of luck as you develop your company in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.